YouTube, a fistful of goats here, and today I went 3-in-1 with Monarchs. Now I know I said that we were going to do an update on the Dragon Link deck today, but the deck's still in the workshop, and to be honest, I've been so poorly with it in the last couple of events. I want to go back to a deck that I know like back in my hand. Also, this is a bit of a preview for my next big scripted video coming out next Sunday, which will be top 10 Monarchs. So look forward to that. So basically what I did with this deck is I took the best of the Monarch engine and splashed in literally every good engine in the game right now. We got Bastiles, we got Dogmatica, we got Branded. Let's take a look. Starting off with the Monarchs, triple Adia, double Erebus, and one Zabog. So with this ratio, Erebus is definitely Aether is definitely the best Monarch because they can be played during either player's turn, making it a great combo with Stormforce to into Disruption. In addition to this guy can also search out another Monarch, which is really good with Zabog, which I'll get to in a second. So that's the best Monarch. Erebus, it's good disruption because it can take a card out of the opponent's hand on the first turn, or remove a problematic permanent any turn after that. I only play 2 of it because space is quite tight with all the engines on this deck, and I think 2 is enough. Now there's a Borg. First of all, this card's amazing in my meta because there's a lot of decks that don't go all out in the first turn, so they have quite full extra decks, turn 2 and 3. So basically what I do is I bring out Aether, then I get this, it bounces my hand during the end phase, the next turn I sack Aether, get this out, destroy itself with its own ability, and I can take 8 cards out of my opponent's extra deck. And my own as well, but because in fact we're playing a very heavy Dogmatica punishment board in my extra deck, this card becomes insane and gives you a ton of triggers. If you get this off against Sky Striker, they may just scoop there because you've pretty much taken all of their good extra deck monsters out of their deck. Outside of that, the other tribute of course, Vanity's Fiend. I mean, we've seen in Flu how good a barrier statue is, so having one with an actual big body is really good. In addition to this, because this cards are dark, if I have one in my hand, I can then use another one of them with my Branded engine to filter it out of my deck. Because usually when one sticks around, it's difficult to remove with a Branded backup. So yeah, that's the Tribute engine. For the first big engine, we've seen this in a couple of my decks, so we're just going to breeze through this. It's the Bastiles. Double Druid Worm, triple Bahamut, and triple Libellion. You've seen this before. Libellion gives the consistency with getting Druid Worm and Magna Hut. Hut can add Druid Worm and Druid Worm as removal. These things just make any light or dark deck difficult to play. They can be splashed into a lot of different decks, and in this deck, they're all 1 tribute monsters. They're another way to get off your Monarch effects. You've seen these. These are obviously better in the domain variant of the deck, because these cards can get the domain lock to go off, but even in this deck, they make some good extra deck materials. Next, the Dogmatica engine, which hasn't changed from the Jank deck I showed a couple of months ago. We're playing a 2 Ecclesia, 1 Knighted, 2 Servant, and 2 Punishment. Now, I know Servant's not 3, so you could technically go 3 Servant, 1 Punishment, but this deck is trying to grind a little bit, so I prefer 2 of these for removal, especially with all the targets we have for it in the extra deck. In addition to this, if you can make a Branded monster, you can special summon this and have another piece of tribute fodder for a Vanity's Fiend or another Monarch with Stormforth. So it makes it really good. And this is basically a hand trap when you've got Dogmatica on the field and it can shut down any effect. It's also a really big beater. And our final big engine is the Branded, which is the smallest. 1 Albaz, triple Branded Fusion. Now this can be a bit problematic because you have only 1 form of Albaz which can brick. But I didn't want to go too many more cards in this deck to 2041, so I'm taking the risk here. Again, the Branded cards are some of the most powerful monsters to make right now. They can banish things off the board, they recycle themselves. And in addition to this, you can send Adia the Heavenly Squire with this to make the light Branded Fusion before going into Mirror Jade, giving you a plus by recycling Pantheisms and Stormforths. So those are all the extra engines we splashed into this deck. We have a small squire ratio because the squires at this price are the worst cards you can play in this deck. The Bastilles can give you the tribute fodder you need. The main reason I'm playing this ratio is because Adia, like I said, is really great with Branded Fusion. You can send it off of it and get back your Monarch spells and traps. So I wanted to play 2 of them, because of that I thought one Eidos could work, because if you do draw one of these, you can just do the usual play and get at least one tribute monster out. Plus, in the late game, you can just send an Eidos to make the Bellion with Branded Fusion. And that's it for the monsters. For our spells, first up, triple Stormforth, and complementing that we have triple Pantheism. The best Monarch spells in the game still. This is Disruption with Aether. It can help you clear out a difficult to answer boss monster. And this is our draw cards. It combos with a few cards in our deck. It can help us see our other engines. And in addition to this, you can banish this. If you haven't drawn one of these, you can guarantee get one in your hand. If not, you can get this, Tenacity, or the Prime Monarch to do more plays. Yeah, these cards were good back in 2016 and they're still pretty good in the deck today. Only 2 Tenacities in this build, because again, trying to keep the card limit down. In fact, with the little less amount of Monarch stat cards in this deck, this isn't actually that great. Because it never actually booked on me today, but I can see a scenario where it would. I like it because getting a way to get Stormforth into your hand can be really powerful, or even Pantheism if necessary. But this could be the card I could cut for something in the future. And 1 Schism and 1 Prime Monarch. So the Prime Monarch, you only need 1 of this at this point, because it's not as good as it used to be, because you're not playing the level 5 engine, so you can't make the Crystal Wing or the rank 5s. But it's still a good body, which sometimes can find hard to get over, and it's repeatable tribute fodder. And Shaddoll Schism, I do play the Shaddoll package for the punishment and the Borgs. So yeah, that's the main. Let's go for the extra deck. For the links, we have IP Masquerena, Nightmare Unicorn, and BLS. I decided not to play any rank 4s, because getting that much material on the board is difficult in this deck. So IP gives us interaction with the opponent's turn with Unicorn, and this is a great go second card. It can clear boards very easily. You could in theory play something like a access code if you have one, but this is pretty good for me. For the fusions, 2 Mirror Jade, 2 Albion, 2 Lebellion. That's our branded main engine. You know the drill by this. You summon one of these 2 off of the branded fusion, use their effects to get Mirror Jade. Mirror Jade's interaction, and when it dies, it's a board wipe. This is really good for the Monarchs because you can work it with a Dia to loop back your Monarch spells. And this plus a Varieties Fiend is very difficult for a lot of decks to answer. Next up, the rest of this extra deck is a Zaborg / Punishment Package. Entes for a pop. Triniclad to get a Fall of Albaz or a Domatic card into your hand. Shaddoll Aclapone to get Schism, which is going to window for another way to lock down the extra deck. I'm going to butcher the pronunciation. Merologic Aggregator. It's basically a way to negate effects if it's sent to the graveyard. And finally, Adignus to Pegasus. It's a way to spin a card back to the deck, so if a card can't be destroyed, it can get around that, or it can just clear the field for an OTK. And that's the extra deck. And finally, for the side... Actually, this one, we're going to go into more detail because it's a bit different to usual. We're starting off with some hand traps with Ash Blossom and Infinite Impermanence. Again, this deck's got a lot of engines, so there wasn't that much space for generic hand traps other than the Bastilles. I chose these because I think these have got the most widespread use in my locals, as they're both basically just shutting down one powerful effect. You could also put in Crows if you've got a heavier tier element meta, but there's only one tier deck. I did not come against it today, so I think I made the right choice. Then we have Dark Moon no more, because this deck can struggle to break some boards, especially ones with a few negates. So just dropping this means you can usually beat over them with your Monarchs and branded cards. Crows. This is to, as I said, deal with elements. It deals with some rogue actions like Burning Abyss. It can take a target out for a Bastille. Never came up today, but it can if you're facing higher level decks. And finally, my good old reliable D-Barrier. In a match against another kind of branded deck, this can be backbreaking. As basically what you can do is you can let them go into their first branded card. Let's use this for an example. Then you flip this, they can't get to the Mirror Jade, and they've just wasted 2 resources for nothing. So that basically allows you to just go ham with your own Monarchs and your own branded cards next turn. And that's my Monarch deck. Like I said, next week we'll be seeing a top 10 Monarchs video, and hopefully the week after that I'll have a D-Link profile which has been updated, so I now have some Chaos Spaces. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the future.